Welcome to this important video. In this video, we are going to discuss about an important user-defined function that is also called anonymous function. Anonymous function is the way to define a function in Python by user, although that is not declared in standard manner as we declare the user-defined function using a keyword def. But in this case, we use another keyword which is called lambda, and that is why it is known as anonymous function because this function has no name and it is directly stored in another variable. In this case, this is the syntax of anonymous function. First, we use a keyword called lambda, and then we write some arguments, number of variables after the keyword. And as soon as we write variables, after that we use colon sign, and following by this colon sign we use an expression or formula to calculate this function. So in this way the anonymous function work. Here are some common features of anonymous function: that lambda can have any number of arguments, which means we can use 2, 3, 4, 5, or any number of variables, but it has just one output value. Only one expression is returned as the output. So it has not multiple outputs as other type of user defined function which is declared by def keyword. Since it requires only one expression at output, that is why it cannot be used for print command, as we already have seen in the previous video that in other user defined function we can use print keyword to show multiple outputs, but in case of anonymous function we cannot use multiple outputs. It will just give us one output or it will return just one expression. Let's look at some examples of anonymous function. Here is an example in which the user is asked to define a function to calculate the double value of a number. In this case, you can see we have defined a variable. Here we define a variable called double, and in this case, after defining this variable, we can see here is an other uh, lambda function which is anonymous function. This is the keyword to declare the anonymous function. Next, this is the variable which shows how many input variables are used, and next we can see that this is the x multiplied to this is the expression. So in this case, this is how this function work, and this is the way to use or to check or to use this function in future. So let me do it at software as well. The software which uses Python as language and which is also called PyCharm. PyCharm is a software which uses Python as a language. So I will use here this. I will type first. I can write the keyword or the variable name which is double, and then I can use anonymous function which is lambda, and let's suppose x is the variable. Then I will use colon sign, and then I will write simple the expression x multiply 2. So this is how the function or the expression works. And now if I want to check what it will be the answer, then I will simply write double and the variable name in bracket x, and then I will run this code and will check that whether it works or not. Here is some common error. You can see I will use the colon sign at the end, semicolon at the end, and then I run again. So this is again which is showing some error, and here is the spelling mistake you can see. So I will correct the spelling mistake and then I run this code. Now it will be resolved, and now I will write the variable name 3. So in this case you can see this is it works. Now I can use this function anytime in future. I'm going to write print again and then double, and then in bracket I write any other variable f. In place of x I write 5, so it will calculate 10. So this is how the lambda function or anonymous function works. Let's look to another example. Here is another example that define an anonymous function to subtract two numbers. So in this case we will subtract two numbers. Simply, first of all we will define a variable. Okay, because anonymous function has no specific name, so it always uses some variable in which the data should be stored. And next we use the keyword lambda, you can see here keyword. And next we use the variables, how many variables should be used. Since to subtract two numbers, two variables are required, so we use two variables, argument 1 and argument 2, and this is the expression. This is how it works. And whenever we want to use it in future, then we will use print command, and then we will use subtract and similarly two numbers. So this is how it works. Let me check it to you again. I'm going to subtract two numbers, so I can change the name of variable as subtract, let's suppose, and now it will use two variables x and y, and simply the expression after colon will be x minus y. Okay, another way to use this is to, I will write here subtract, and I will check 5 and 4, and let me save this value in a, and then I can print it anytime in future. So you can see here it will work, and I'm going to run this code, and as soon as I run this code you can see here is the answer 1. So this is the user defined function which is defined in an anonymous way without any name, and we have used another variable to save the value of this function. Because it is anonymous, it is defined with lambda keyword. Okay, let we move to the next example. Here is another example. Define an anonymous function to calculate the percentage. Similarly, you can see here, first of all, on left side we will use a variable in which the value should be stored. Here is the keyword lambda, which will define the start of this function, and these are the variables, how many variables should be used with it. And then after the colon sign you can see here is an expression which is given. So in this way we can use it in future anytime, and we can use this function. So this is the way to declare the anonymous function. Let me calculate it through program as well. So here I'm going to write percentage in place of subtract, because I'm going to calculate the percentage. So in case of percentage, we must have two variables. Let's suppose first variable shows the obtained marks and second variable shows the total marks, and the expression should be in such a way that first we will divide obtained marks with total marks, and then we will multiply it with 100. So this is the expression, and now I'm going to calculate the percentage. So I will write this function or variable name in which anonymous function has been declared, and first I will write obtained marks and then I will write total marks. And now you can see when we print it and then we can run it, so it is the percentage that has been already displayed at the output 77.1428. So this is the way to declare the anonymous function, and this is how does it work. This is very easy. Thank you so much. That was all for this lecture. We are waiting for your valuable feedback. Please leave it in the form of comments, and do follow us for upcoming such quality lectures. Thank you.